A Good Person is Zach Braff's latest drama that he directed and wrote with ex-partner and lead star Florence Pugh over COVID. Pugh plays charismatic and magnetic Allison, who survives a fatal road collision with devastating consequences for her personal life and ends up imploding her life in a haze of oxy addiction. As she tries to take steps towards recovery, she encounters Morgan Freeman's Daniel, whose life was also destroyed by the crash, and the two try to connect to see if they can heal. It's about self-medicating pain and how forgiveness of both yourself and others is actually the cure. The movie is down to earth in nature, thriving in its realism and the intensity of the acting that includes a stellar supporting cast of Molly Shannon, Chinaza Uche, and Celeste O'Connor, seriously elevating what could have easily been a melodramatic and forgettable piece. Florence Pugh's frenetic energy is transfixing. Every line delivery drips of pain and rage, and she can push and pull your emotions at will. There was one line where her voice broke as she said, "I don't want to be anywhere," and it absolutely killed me with zero warning. She squeezes every drip out of this character, and it's one of the most remarkable acting performances of the year. You can also see that Braff's camera loves following her with loads of close-ups, almost invasive shots, making us feel like we're watching her from a first-person view at times. There's also constant motion and quick cuts with the camera work when she's at the emotional heights and the addiction takes over. And it's a really subtle but effective way to display her inner turmoil for the screen. Morgan Freeman is looser than you've seen him in a while here too. He's not trying to be Morgan Freeman here, and it's nice to see him as a real, if struggling, human. There is a lot of positives here, but it also doesn't mean that the movie fully works. Some of the attempts at humor come across really try-hard, like Braff is a bit of an uncle in his 50s trying to show that he knows what dabbing is. He's down with all the cool phrases. Like there's one scene in particular that comes to mind with an older neighbor just yelling the word fuckboy a lot over and over that was just really cringe. There's also some other questionable content that I'm not sure the movie actually identifies as a bit fucked up. Like there's one character who's blackmailing another into going on birth control, or there's multiple cases of people trying to emotionally blackmail two characters into reuniting. These moments are played as if they're sweet and good intentioned, if slightly wayward gestures, when really it's just kind of a messed up way to see and act in the world. A Good Person is bleak, unrelenting, and a really tough watch. Despite all the characters being fundamentally good people just trapped in broken patterns by their pain, it doesn't actually pull any punches with them. And that's not necessarily a compliment. This is a really well-made movie where everyone involved is bought into the project and operating near their peak, but its bleakness makes it one I don't ever see myself going back to. It's just not nice watching nice people suffer. There's one scene in particular where one character just absolutely lays into another and says all of the quiet parts loud. It's wonderfully acted by both parties, but it's absolutely awful to watch. It's like watching someone who's on the edge and probably very close to thinking the worst thoughts that could happen. And you actually watch someone say the things that's going to get them over the line or push them over the edge. It's not nice to watch that, especially when there's no redemption. There is a darkness here, like it was conceived from a really dark place. To compare it to another project from the makers of this movie, Sky contributed to it. Mass is a movie that deals with a similarly awful subject matter. It's about school shootings, and it has great actors say horrific parts loudly and talk through kind of emotions that get left unsaid quite often. But where Mass succeeds, and this falls down a little bit for me, is that Mass is concerned with all characters eventually healing and working towards that at all times, while although there is a healing aspect to this, this seems to revel in the character's misery and how far to the depths it can push them. Healing is more a necessary addendum that a box they have to tick, required to complete an arc, than a uniting goal that everyone is working towards. It just seems at times like the movie is standing on nice people's necks at times and just not letting up on them where you just want them to, and it's just not nice to watch. What I can say, though, is that Florence Pugh has only strengthened her mantle for being considered the greatest actress alive today. She is the master of producing perfect performances in imperfect projects. She gives every project she's in a high floor, and for what it's worth, this is a project with a high floor. I'm not saying this is a bad movie. It's really, really well made. It just seems to have its heart in slightly the wrong place. Like I said, it's not one that I think many people are going to be rushing back to because it's a tough watch, and I don't see a reason that you go back to this. It's not something where it's a difficult subject matter, but you have a cathartic cry and then it comes out with a positive message. It's something where, like, it's just tough. It's just difficult to watch. But it's also one that that as much as people aren't going to rush back to it, I don't see many people regretting watching either. It's quite a good movie, but just watch it the once if you feel in a particularly strong mental state and you're looking for something that challenges you. But again, like I said, not one that people are going to be rushing back to.